not much of a writer, so I had to, borrow some famous words from Charleston Heston. I'm going to speak directly to the press across the nation today. I know some of you are here. Some of you have heard this speech before, but it bears repeating, because maybe you didn't listen the first time. I believe every journalist needs to know why the Second Amendment must be considered more essential than the First Amendment. This may be a bitter pill to swallow, but the right to keep and bear arms is not archaic, it's not outdated, it's not a dusty idea that some old dead white guys dreamed up in fear of the redcoats. No, it is just as essential to liberty today as it was in 1776. Your efforts to undermine the Second Amendment, to degrade it, to vilify it, threaten not only the physical well-beings of millions of Americans, but also the core concept of individual liberty our founding fathers struggled to perfect and protect. I believe strongly in the right of every law-abiding citizen to keep and bear arms. The original amendments we refer to as the Bill of Rights contain 10 of what the constitutional framers termed unalienable rights, rights from God and nature. These rights are ranked in random order and are linked by their essential equality. The Bill of Rights came to us with blinders on. It doesn't recognize color, class, or wealth. It protects not just the rights of actors, editors, reporters, politicians, but extends to even those that we love to hate. That's why the most heinous criminals have rights until they are convicted of a crime. The beauty of the Constitution can be found in the way it takes human nature into consideration. We are not a docile species capable of coexisting with a perfect utopian society. We are what we are. We are egotistical, corruptible, vengeful, and sometimes even a bit power crazy. The Bill of Rights recognizes this and builds the barricades that need to be in place to protect the individual. I say the Second Amendment is, in order of importance, the First Amendment. It is America's first freedom, the one right that protects all the others. Among the freedom of speech, press, religion, assembly, and of redress of grievances, it is the first among equals. It alone offers the absolute capacity to live without fear. The right to keep and bear arms is the one right that allows all rights to exist at all. Either believe that or you don't, but you must decide. Because there's no such thing as a free nation where police and military are allowed to force of arms, but individual citizens are not. That's a Big Brother knows best theater that is absurd and has never boded well with the peasant class, the working class, or for reporters. Our revolution began when the British sent redcoats door to door to confiscate the people's guns, and they didn't succeed. The muskets went out the back door with their owners. King George calls us rebels in arms, but with God's grace, George Washington and many brave men gave us our country. Soon after, God's grace gave a few great men that gave us our Constitution. It has been said that the creation of the United States is the greatest political act in history, and I agree to that. It's a long speech, I'm sorry. In the next 2 centuries, though, freedom did not flourish. There's been no shortage of dictators since in many countries, like Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, Mao, Castro, Pol Pot, and the latest up-and-comer you might know as Barack Obama. All these monsters began by confiscating private citizens and private arms, then literally soaking the earth with blood of tens and millions of other people. Ah, the joys of gun control. Now, I doubt any of you would prefer a rolled-up newspaper as a weapon against a dictator, or a tactical hammer. In essence, that is what you've asked our loved ones to do, through an ill-contrived and totally naive campaign against the Second Amendment. Besides, how can we trust you with the Second Amendment when you are so stingy with your First Amendment? You do not define the First Amendment, it defines you. It is bigger than you and big enough to embrace all of you, plus all of those that you would exclude, and that's how freedom works. It also demands that you do your homework. Again and again, I hear gun owners say, how can we believe anything the anti-gun media says when they can't even get the facts right? For too long, you have swallowed manufactured statistics and fabricated technical support from anti-gun organizations that wouldn't even know a semi-auto from a pencil. And it shows because you fall for it every time.
Portland.
That's why you have little credibility with the over 150 million gun owners and millions of veterans who learn the hard way which end the bullet comes out. And while you attack the amendment that defends your homes and protects your spouses and children, you have denied those of us who defend all of the Bill of Rights a fair hearing or courtesy to honest debate. Clearly, too many have used freedom of the press as a weapon, not only to strangle our free speech, but to erode and ultimately destroy the right to keep and bear arms. We have raised a generation of young people to think that the Bill of Rights comes with their cable TV. Leave them to their channel surfing and they'll remain oblivious to history and heritage that truly matter. Think about it. What else must young Americans think when the White House proclaims, as it did, that a firearm in the hands of a youth is a crime or an accident waiting to happen? No, it is time that these children learn that firearm ownership is constitutional, not criminal. In fact, few pursuits can teach a young person more about responsibility, safety, conservation, their history and heritage all at once. It is time they find out that the politically correct doctrine of today has misled them, and that when they reach legal age, if they don't break our laws, they have a right to choose to own a gun, a handgun, AR-15, small gun, purple gun, black gun, ugly gun, and to use that gun to defend themselves and their loved ones and engage in lawful purpose that they desire without apology or explanation. This is their first freedom. If you say it's outdated, then you haven't read your own headlines. If you say guns create only carnage, I would answer that you know better. Declining morals, disintegrating families, political leadership, and eroding criminal justice system and social mores that blur right from wrong are more to blame, certainly, than a legally owned firearm. I want to rescue the Second Amendment from a tyrant in training and from the press that apparently can't comprehend that attacks on the Second Amendment set up the stage for assaults on the First. I simply cannot stand by and watch a right guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States come under attack from those who either can't understand it, don't like the sound of it, or too squeamish to see why it remains the first among equals. Because this is the right we turn to when all else fails. That is why the Second Amendment is our first American freedom. Please go forth and tell the truth, because no freedom, no press, no protest, no freedom of worship, no freedom to speak your mind, and no freedom for your children, for anybody, anywhere, without the Second Amendment to fight for it. If you don't believe me, turn on the news tonight, because the civilization's veneer is wearing thinner all the time. God bless you, God bless America, and Bowling Lobby, my friends!